From sticking with the source material to rewriting a few things for a better impact. What a run has it been! Now that we are done with Season 1, here are a few differences between the game and the TV versions of The Last of Us.
Coughing.
I'm sorry, I meant people on planes. That was something you described in your book.
Yes, a new virus in Madagascar, say, could be in Chicago within a matter of weeks, and we end up with a global pandemic. Pan meaning all, the whole world becomes sick all at once.
I think the first thing to note gotta be the whole pandemic, right? The nature of the infection itself has been reworked as the show begins in 1968, with two scientists speaking with a TV reporter about the potential for pandemics throughout the world. And although the second expert's warning about fungus instead of merely viral sickness seems like cheap comedy, it really turns true. The scientist says that if the cordyceps were to evolve to live at higher temperatures, humans would lose. But in the series, they lost a little too quickly, while taking place largely in 2033. The video game's opening scene is set in the year 2013. The TV series, on the other hand, starts in the year 2003 with a time jump to 2023. As I said, they kinda wanted it to have that COVID feeling to it. Which reminds me, did you notice that there were no spores in the show? And there was a reason for it. They didn't want it to be too close to the pandemic the world actually faced in the last few years, and having to wear masks would be an easy way to draw a comparison. But hey, the studio did confirm that they would add spores in the second season. Anyway, another thing that was different was the prologue, and I'm glad it was altered. Now that I've watched the season finale, getting to spend more time with Sarah only made Joel's relationship with Ellie stand out more. The video game, on the contrary, was too busy delivering the most gut-wrenching prologue. I'm not taking sides, they were both super amazing. And that wasn't it, now was it? We also witnessed how Ellie got to be under Marlene's care. With all of this, the TV show's QZ is far more populated than the games, which was almost deserted. The pursuit of Robert by Joel and Tess, and their following encounter with Marlene and Ellie are also somewhat chained. The tense encounter and subsequent collaboration with Marlene from the game are also substituted with more of a gun-raised bit of deal-making. Okay, so moving forward, after the Ellie deal is done, Joel and the ladies' escape from the QZ shows the conflicting inclinations of TV and games, which tend to focus on narrative depth while also keeping things moving. While games prefer to prolong story development throughout the chapters, HBO's Last of Us had more of a rapid approach to speed things up. A good example is when Ellie swiftly reveals her immunity and is believed, leading to the three of them making a rapid, undramatic escape from Fedra, even though Joel and Tess still assume Ellie is infected after the holdup. When they leave the quarantine area, they only come across one bunch of clickers, which is regrettably still one too many for Tess. And boy, was Tess's sacrifice something. Finally, given the opportunity for a moment of glory this time, despite a dying lighter, she manages to get it to work and blow the whole horde up. She makes it significantly simpler for Joel and Ellie to flee, while acting as the pinnacle, which only strengthens Joel and Ellie's relationship. But hey man, shout out to Tess.
No! We're not leaving her! Get off me, you not going with you!
Although the whole scene was just as unpleasant as it was in the game, except it was buying time against swarming Fedra soldiers. Coming to a bigger difference, the scene from Indonesia, the introduction of the second episode of the series, which centers on an Indonesian mycologist who encounters a human victim of a mutant cordyceps, is the most obvious difference. The games don't explore the origin of the epidemic, but the series left no page unturned, giving the fans a source location and an explanation for why large cities were destroyed. We also got a whole life before the apocalypse, which was majorly missing in the game. Do you know who else was missing in the game? Frank, the game's memorable Bill, who assists Joel and Ellie in getting a car, and his companion Frank, a mere corpse who sent Bill a cruel message, have a complete episode to themselves. Honestly, my favorite one, hands down. Although he is a bit of a foodie, Nick Offerman's portrayal of Bill maintains much of his survivalist, unwelcoming personality and physical look. His various intricate traps receive a lot of screen time, but they are balanced out by Frank's gentle side. Despite their best attempts, Joel and Ellie never run across the two. This also means the entire journey through the cemetery to the second safe house is lost. What they do come across is a note that tells Joel to take everything he needs. Moving on, another thing that differs is the whole Pittsburgh versus Kansas City. Although Kansas City is the new locale for the TV series, the ambush that Joel and Ellie experience in the game while traveling through Pittsburgh is definitely based on what happens afterward. Although HBO's show takes significant liberties in developing the city story, the idea of a city where resistance has displaced Fedra is preserved. Talking more about the ambush, Joel and Ellie face it in a manner that is almost identical to the game. As I said, the series takes this as a chance to condense a lot of what will happen next, as opposed to a later incident when they are separated and searching for a way out. It is during the initial ambush when Ellie shoots a man to save Joel. This time Ellie just injures the man, and then Joel ends him to make Ellie feel better. On top of that, the ambush is from the resistance itself, and there are hints as to what happened in Pittsburgh in the game, but the TV show greatly expands on this backstory. Melanie Lynskey makes a guest appearance as a ruthless resistance leader named Kathleen, who seeks to eliminate anyone who has provided information to Fedra, including Henry and his brother Sam, as we find out in the 5th episode, which has Lynskey directing a savage killing of alleged informants. That whole backstory is further developed, and the biggest difference that I personally noticed was the hydroelectric dam in Jackson, Wyoming.
So that made electricity?
Yeah. Don't ask me, I don't have a clue.
You know, you could have just made something up. I would have believed you.
In the game, Tommy and his wife Maria are at a hydroelectric dam that powers a local community that we only see from a distance when Joel and Ellie arrive in Wyoming. This chapter has been completely altered. Instead of just tumbling onto Tommy, Joel and Ellie are discovered by other Jacksonites in a tense confrontation that almost turns Ellie into dog food. They find their way with the help of an ignorant and harmless old couple who they intrude upon. The Jackson town from The Last of Us 2 is then where Joel and Ellie are led. They even have time for a movie night in the episode that is seen in the second game, but is only referenced in passing in the first. Unlike the dam, the community is not attacked, which lets the characters' drama continue, although the specifics are different. The basic plot beats are the same, as Ellie spends time with Maria and the locals. She feels a little out of place, which further strengthens Joel and Ellie's relationship. Last but not the least, the University Hospital. On their trip to the University Hospital, Joel explains American football to Ellie. Nevertheless, they are able to walk straight in and get the goods they want, without having to navigate through barred doors in contaminated areas. They encounter raiders and must flee, which ends up in Joel killing one guy in self-defense, while getting himself stabbed.
They're not following us. I think we're safe. Joel? Joel? Joel, no, no, no!
Which in the game ended with Joel getting impaled on a metal pipe. Having said that, that was all for how The Last of Us series differs from the game. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.